Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another episode of the X Factor Sports Podcast, Season 4, Episode 8. We are flying through Season 4. It's crazy. It's already May. We're already deep in the playoffs. I'm glad to have y'all here. We got a great show for you guys tonight. You don't want to miss this episode. So thank you again. We are live. We are on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, and you can catch us at all of the audio podcast spots: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, no longer Google Podcasts. It is YouTube Music now. So make sure if you subscribe to the YouTube channel to see the video, make sure you got YouTube Music so you can listen to the audio if you can't ever catch the show on the video spot. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. Again, great show. We're going to get into a lot tonight. First thing we do, like you know, we get into the layup lines. We got some quick news. We're going to start with the NHL. Last night, Canucks and Oilers, crazy game. We had 2 goals in the third period in the last minute, 10 seconds. The Oilers with the game-winning goal to tie this series up at 2. I picked the Oilers to win this series, so I was excited to see that they won and knotted it up at home. And that game was crazy. Like I said, the Oilers scored a goal in each period, and the Vancouver Canucks scored 2 goals in the third, made it interesting, tied it up, and then Oilers go on and win it at the end. So shout out to them. 2-2 series tied up. Then we got the Bruins and the Panthers. Bruins in Boston, they stave off elimination. They were down 3-1. Yesterday, they win a game and bring it back to Boston for game 6 on Friday. So hopefully this gives them some momentum. The good thing about them playing on Tuesday and winning, they get 3 days rest, and then they get to play at home on Friday night. Hopefully they can tie that series up and push it to a game 7, because I also picked the Bruins to win that series. So I'm behind the 8 ball a little bit. Hopefully these teams can keep it moving. All right. Rangers and Hurricanes. All right. New York Rangers went up 3-0. And now the Hurricanes have won 2 straight, forcing a game 6 tonight. The Rangers better stop playing with their food. That's all I got to say. They are letting this team hang around, giving them confidence. It is not as big of a historical anomaly if a NHL team wins a series being down 3-0. It happens more often in NHL than it does in NBA or in Major League Baseball. So the Rangers better watch out. I don't know if they're too busy watching the Knicks play and play well and trying to match that, but they need to keep their eye on the prize. Hurricanes are coming for them, and they are 2 games in a row looking to tie this thing up tonight, knot it at 3, and go to a game 7 where anything can happen. So Rangers, I think, close it out tonight, but they're giving themselves a little bit of scare, so they better wake up. Then we got Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche. Avalanche won a crazy game. If y'all saw last week, game 1, they were down 3 goals in the first period and came back and won in overtime 4-3. One of my homeboys is a huge Rockies fan, so he was excited. But then reality set in, like I told him. So I ain't just telling the world. I told him personally. The Stars are just better, man. They're a deeper team. They've been better all year. And so they're up 3-1. They won the last 3 games. I think they finish it off tonight and get some rest. I don't think they play around with their food like the Rangers are. I think they go ahead and get this done. It would make the series a little more interesting if the Avalanche won, but I think with them losing their best player, substance abuse, in hockey, they don't really tell you what the issues are when players get suspended, but he violated some rules for the 3rd time, so they have to suspend him, and I think that's going to hurt the Avalanche as well. So I think the Stars get it done and close this deal tonight. On to the NBA. The Combine specifically started this week. And Bronny James, we talked about this before. Bronny, it's so unique, the situation that Bronny's in. He didn't really show you much in college. He had the health issues, and then he didn't really do anything statistically in college that 1 year. Some argue that he may not even been a McDonald's All-American, but he got there. But all that is in the past. We talked about in previous episodes how Bronny's game is tailor-made for the NBA. not necessarily college. He was trained by arguably the greatest player ever, right? So, and his father didn't go to college, so he's not going to train him to have a college game. He's going to have a pro game. I say all that to say this: Bronny has actually been impressive in the combine this past week. He's kind of eliminated some of the doubts about his shooting. Obviously, it's in drills. And when you are the son of an athlete, you're going to get all the drills right. You grew up doing cone work. You grew up doing 5-star shooting. You grew up doing all these things that you see in a combine, right? Your whole life is a combine. If LeBron's your dad. So that's prepared him for this moment. I believe that the combine will do him well just in that structured setting where he's doing drills. He'll be able to kind of show the world the things that he's good at. Show a little bit of his athleticism. I think he had a 40-inch vertical in the vertical jump, something like that. And he's only listed at like 6'1", 6'1 and a half, which is shorter than I thought he was. I thought he was my height, 6'3", 6'4", but he's not. He's still only 18, so he can grow. But in the 5-on-5s, he played well in the 5-on-5s. He controlled the pace of the games. He made timely shots. So he looks good against prospects. I feel like he will look good in the summer league also, because again, it's against guys that are trying to get to the league. The way they do NBA summer league now, the top guys don't really play in the summer leagues. So you're not going to see those guys much. Reed Shepherds and all those, the dudes from UConn, like Zach Edey, you'll probably see them in 1 or 2 games. If it's like a marquee matchup, like 2 top picks play against each other for TV, but you don't really see the top guys anymore in summer league. It's the guys like Bronny and the guys trying to make a squad. I think he can flourish there, but it's still the leap that he's going to have to take to play NBA basketball. I still don't think he's ready to play with grown men. His game is tailored to play in the NBA, but he is not physically or mentally ready to play in the NBA. That's why this is such a weird conundrum that he's in. He can't go back to college because what is he going to prove in college? He's just going to get nitpicked more and more. They're going to say, oh, he went to the combine. Assuming he was an NBA player, he goes back to school because they thought he wasn't good enough. That's why he came back. And then anytime he has a bad game, he'll get critiqued. And we don't know what school he'll go to. So it's just be a big circus around him anyway. So now that you made the decision to go in the combine, you might as well just go pro, right? You don't need the money. So, I mean, school ain't going nowhere. Parents might be listening to this saying, how dare you? But universities have been up for 200 years, 300 years. Like, they ain't going nowhere. He can always go back to school and get his degree. Players do it all the time. Vince Carter did it during a playoff series. He went back and graduated from college. It's fine. If his dream is to play in the league, go for it. What I'm saying as somebody that plays basketball and that played basketball at a minor league level and at a college level, I know the game and I know what I see with my own 2 eyes. He has the IQ. He understands basketball, but he's not physically ready to play with men yet. He won't impact the game. And you would be putting him in front of somebody that actually could impact the game. So I say all that to say he may get drafted, he may not. He'll be on a team, but he needs to be on a team that can develop him so he can become a good pro. The expectation that he's going to be LeBron James should have been out the window years ago. He's not going to be that, right? He's just not built that way. It's just too much pressure to put on him. It was like back when I was younger, they used to talk about Jordan's kids. Like, all the pressure that was put on Jordan's kids was ridiculous. Like, come on, man. There are grown men that couldn't be him. So how you think these kids can be? Same with Bronny. But he's been having a good showing in the combine. So I'm happy to see him do that. And I look forward to it. I hope he gets to the league, if it's drafted or undrafted, whatever the case may be. The way you get to the NBA doesn't really move me at all. If you get there and you're good, it's all that matters. Nikola Jokic was a 2nd-round pick that nobody thought was good. And now they're saying, earlier today, they were saying he's probably going to be one of the top 10 players to ever play if they win a championship. So it can change like that, right? If you can play, you can play. Simple as that. So, and that's what he'll have to prove every day. So that's what I think about that. Now, let's move on to the W, all right? The WNBA. Opening night, last night, we got to see Caitlin Clark go up against the Connecticut Sun in her first official WNBA game. And the question I have is this the biggest season in WNBA history? All right. And I'll scroll down and I'll get through why I think yes, the answer is yes, why this is the biggest season. And it's not just because of Caitlin Clark. So we can circle around and talk about the game she had last night. There are going to be a lot of casual fans, and there are going to be a lot of people that don't want to see her succeed. It just happens. It's the way humans are for some odd reason. They want to see people fail. I don't get it. But she didn't have a great game. She had like 10 turnovers, 20 points, didn't have a good first half. Number one, she played against arguably the best defensive team in the league in her very first game. Two, her usage. She had the ball in her hands all the time. You're not playing against Northwestern. You're not playing against Ohio State, Purdue. Like, these are the best women in the world. The 140 best women. This ain't like even the NBA has 450 players. The W only has like 140 players. So there are women that are good that can't make it to the WNBA. All right. So she's playing against the top of the top, which is what she wanted to do. So yes, in her first game, she's going to struggle. She looked like a talented rookie playing in their first game. She was nervous. She turned the ball over. She was trying to do things that she was able to get away with in college that she realized real quick that she cannot get away with in the WNBA. And that happens. That's the curve. I think she'll be fine. But if we're talking about this being the biggest season, I'm talking about from a business standpoint for the WNBA. Think of it like this. Caitlin Clark has 2.3 million followers on Instagram. Angel Reese has 3.5 million followers on Instagram. Camila Cardozo is Brazilian, and she's bringing over 500,000 followers from Instagram, right? So these are people that have watched them in college, followed their career, and came with them to the WNBA. The WNBA Instagram page only has 2.5 million followers. Angel Reese has more followers than the entire league. All right. And she's coming in to the WNBA, and she's in a big market in Chicago. And it's a team that just recently won a WNBA title. So the business of the WNBA, if they don't strike it now, I don't know if they ever will. Now that we have social media kids in the WNBA, you have to utilize their popularity to grow the sport. It's primed this season. It's always had the talent. Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, it's always had Cheryl Swoops, it's always had the talent. Lisa Leslie, it can go back and back and back, right? It's never been an issue of talent. It's just been an issue of marketing them to the general public. The fanatics like myself are going to watch the WNBA. I can reel off names and teams from years ago. But the casual fan, which is the masses who you're trying to attract, there's a time to strike when you have these kids coming in with their following to the WNBA. Now, they have the following with the social media kids. But if you think back in the 90s when the WNBA first started, the WNBA started when Jordan and the Bulls were in their second three-peat. I mean, that's just hard to compete with. Like, football couldn't compete with it. Hockey, of course, not. Like, nobody could compete with the Bulls in the 90s in terms of TV ratings, popularity, Jordan, all that. And then the WNBA started a league at that same time. You can't do that. The highest rated NBA game in history is still the 98 Game 6 NBA Finals Jazz Bulls. That's still the highest rated NBA game in history. That was almost 30 years ago, right? So the WNBA, yes, started their entire existence behind that shadow of the NBA. But now there's an opportunity for them to leverage what these girls are bringing to the WNBA in terms of their following. And I think this is the best time to do it. So this is what we have today. The social media aspect. We have the way to build this sports league to the casual fan is, again, just drawing the attention of these young girls and showing them, hey, you can get close to your biggest fan of these girls, Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reese of the world. You can get close to them, the Asia Wilsons. And then, segueing from Asia Wilson, we have a team that is looking to three-peat for the first time since the beginning of inception of the WNBA. The Las Vegas Aces are back-to-back champs. Asia Wilson went crazy last night. If y'all didn't see that, put up 30. She probably wins MVP this year. At least she's going to try to. So we have the history of social media with great young talent coming into the league. We got nationally televised games coming. We have chartered flights for the women now, finally. They long deserved. They finally get that. You got Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces looking to three-peat. So now we got a storyline on top of the storyline from the young rookies. And, oh, yeah, by the way, one of the greatest players to ever play, Candace Parker, is just been announced as president of women's basketball for Adidas. Like, if the WNBA can't wrap their arms around the young players coming in, the current superstars they have, and then the players that retired and bring them in, that's how you grow the league's popularity. The NBA does it all the time. Any NBA network you see all of the legends calling games. Reggie Miller, Shaq, Isaiah Thomas on NBA TV. Everybody loves Charles Barkley, the personality. It's kids that watch the NBA now don't even realize Charles Barkley played basketball. They just love him because of his commentary. But he's a great player. But the NBA has done such a good job of putting their arms around the past stars. The WNBA needs to continue to do that as well and kind of bridge the gap between the greats that are currently in the game, the Diana Taurasi's of the world, the Stewies, and kind of bridge that gap with the Angel Reeses and Caitlin Clarks. And I feel like if they do that, we can see the WNBA go to new heights. So I'm excited to see what this season does and how many of those Angel Reese followers start following the W on social media as well. All right. Cool. So a lot of basketball, but I wanted to get the WNBA in there, of course, because this is going to be a great season. I love watching them play, especially when playoff time comes in the fall. But we got to get to the playoffs right now, right? What's going on right now in the NBA? We've been watching the games and following. So we got Boston and Cleveland tonight. Boston's up 3-1. People were jumping out the window going crazy because they lost game 2. Donovan Mitchell put on the show. Everybody thought, oh, man, Boston tripping. The exact same thing happened in the first round, right? The Miami Heat had a historic game against Boston in the Garden, hit 25, 26 threes and won one game. And then the Celtics mopped them the rest of the way. This is the same thing that's about to happen tonight. Boston will finish them off, and we'll look back and be like, oh, damn, Boston actually won that series in a gentleman's sweep. They won the second round in the gentleman's sweep, and whoever they get in the Eastern Conference Final, they're going to mop them too. So let's pump the brakes on all this emotional roller coaster with the Boston Celtics. All right. They're winning games, and Jason Tatum's not even really playing that great, to be honest. Like the team collectively is playing well, but you're not getting these 35, 40-point outbursts from Jason Tatum. You're getting a balanced game from everybody. Even Drew Holiday is starting to pick up his scoring output. So they're putting it all together to be a formidable team in the Eastern Conference Finals. But this series, everybody jumping off the boat, and I don't understand why. I think the expectations are just so high for Boston because we're so used to seeing them in a conference final, NBA Finals. And Tatum's only 26 years old, which is crazy to think. This dude's been in 5, 6 conference finals, and he ain't even in his prime yet. That's scary to think. Him or Jaylen Brown, right? But everybody's just, because of how they did in the regular season, thinks that they should just be blowing out everybody. I don't know if it's because of the competition in the East they feel like they should be, but it's the playoffs. They're playing against competitive teams trying to win, and Boston's still handling their business. So let's relax. They've only lost 2 games in the entire playoff, whereas everybody else has lost at least 2 games in the series they're currently playing in. All right? The Celtics have only lost 2 games the entire playoffs. So chill out. They'll be just fine, and they'll close this thing out tonight. Knicks Pacers. Man, if that ain't the most bipolar series that I've seen going up and down. If you are a Knicks fan on Sunday, you probably burned one of your Knicks jerseys. But then today, looking at the game last night, you probably dug in the garbage and tried to get it back. Like that's the way that these guys are playing. And the Knicks demolished the Pacers, embarrassed them even. The Pacers just don't have any defense against a team who's half of their starting rotation in the Knicks are injured. Find a way to win. They're just tough. They're a tough team. They play with a lot of heart. I don't know how far that's going to get them. I actually picked the Pacers to win this series in 7. I still feel like the Pacers can, but this game 6 is very pivotal, and I'll tell you why. It has something to do with scheduling, right? So game 5 was yesterday on a Tuesday. The Knicks win. Game 6 isn't until Friday. So you talk about a team where most of their players play 40 plus minutes. Their top guys don't leave the game. They get 3 days rest before they go to Indiana to try to close it out. On the other side, Indiana was embarrassed. So they got to hear about how bad they were, how much they suck for 3 days, and then they get to go home and try to redeem themselves. So this game is very important because if the Knicks don't close the Pacers out in 6, all that rest they got, because they're going to fight their butt off to win game 6, they have to turn right back around in 48 hours and play a game 7 back in New York. So they got to travel back, recoup with Jalen Brunson not 100%, however many other guys might not be 100% at this point, turn back around and play a game 7 off that emotional high and low from winning game 5 and if they lose game 6. Can they do it? Now, with the Pacers, again, they got 3 days to kind of stew in this disappointing loss. They come out swinging. I think Rick Carlisle will send a message. I think they will receive it. Tyrese Halliburton needs to find some consistency in the playoffs. Pascal Siakam needs you. He needs his all-star to help. If the Pacers win game 6, they have momentum going into game 7, which sounds crazy after how they just got blown out yesterday. The momentum that they will have in game 7 going back to New York. They know that they can win in New York. They take the momentum after being down 3-2. They win an elimination game, which is huge for a young team to know they can win an elimination game. Their role players just have to go on the road and perform in a game 7. So that's what that game will come down to. If it gets to a game 7, it'll be the role players. I know what Siakam's going to give me. He's a champion. Brunson's been showing you what he can give you all series long. You know what Josh Hart's going to do. It comes down to the role players in a game 7. Who will step up and help their team win? So I'm going to be watching that game 6 very closely on Friday night, and we'll see who pulls that out. Obviously, if the Knicks win, the series is over. But if they lose that game, that Sunday game will be very interesting in game 7. So we'll see. Mavs Thunder. All right. That series is knotted at 2. The Thunder respond, a young team, after winning game 1. They lose back-to-back games, and then they come back in game 4 in Dallas and get a win to tie it up at 2. Get the home court advantage back. Game 5 is tonight. Excuse me. Teams or in a playoff series in the NBA, when a series is tied at 2-2, the team that wins game 5 wins about 80% of the time, win the series. So this is a very pivotal game, 5. Same thing that was with the Knicks. It was 2-2. So statistically, the Knicks should win that series, historically too. So this is a big game 5 for the Thunder and the Mavs. Luka's not 100% either. And with Lou Dort hanging all over his jersey, we'll see how well he plays. Kyrie has been playing great on the defensive end. We need him to attack. There's no way in hell that there should be a playoff game where Kyrie Irving has 9 points. I don't care who he's playing with or against. He's too good to only have 9 points in a game. All right. So I think he will correct that. PJ Washington, if they win this series, it will be a PJ Washington series because they have not had an answer for him. He is a problem I don't think that they scouted for. But when he plays the way he's playing, attacking the rim, hitting threes, corner threes, hitting threes from everywhere, and he's playing defense, he's the type of player that plays with energy. If he's making shots, he's going to give you everything else, kind of like an Aaron Gordon. I like what I see in PJ Washington. He might be trying to get him some money. It looked like he's going to get him a contract if he don't already have one re-signed. But he looks great. So this game 5 will be a tough one. I think the Mavs win game 5, and I think they win the series. Of course, if Luka's healthy. But the reason why is because veteran teams, when they play against young teams in the playoffs, you make the young teams play in a half court. All right. And we have a very recent example of this. Last year, if you remember, the Kings Warriors series with 7 games, and everybody was high on the Kings. And I was telling my boy Coop, we text all the time, every day during the playoffs. And I said, bro, I know you like the Kings, but you got to understand when young teams have to play in the half court, you making a young team play defense for 24 seconds on the shot clock, and then they got to go down and play offense for 24 seconds. It takes a lot of focus. All right. It takes a lot of discipline to play a basketball game like that where you have to think for 48 minutes. All right. Young teams like to run up and down, get easy baskets, get in transition, get a rhythm. When you play against an older veteran team and they make you play in the half court, it's hard to get a rhythm when you play half court basketball, right? Because now you have to think your way to score. You have to wait for the other team to make a mistake on defense. And I feel like the 2 games that Dallas won, they did that to OKC. They made them play in the half court. Shea is the orchestrator, but other teammates have to get involved. They force Lou Dort to hit shots. Josh Giddey can't even play in the series anymore when they went in the half court. If you notice, he's been chilling on the bench. So, like, those are the type of adjustments Jason Kidd made. Mark Dejounte made a big adjustment in game 4. They were down double digits, came back and won a big game, avoided being down 3-1. But I feel like if Luka's healthy and Dallas can force the Thunder to play a half-court game, Dallas has the advantage. So if they do that tonight, I got the Mavs winning game 5. Then we got the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. All right? So if y'all watched last week, a lot of people got the reel. That's why you got to watch the episode so you get all the context. But the reel specifically said the Nuggets are done, right? You probably caught the first snippet of it. However, it elaborates to say that this is when the Nuggets were down 0-2. I said if the Nuggets do not win on Friday, they will not be playing on Monday because they would have gotten swept Sunday, right? So not only did they win on Friday, they won another game on Sunday. And not only did they win on Sunday, they just won last night. So they're up 3-2 now in this series. They've won 3 straight. The Nuggets have woken up. They have shown some championship mettle, which I love seeing it. They were faced with adversity. Mike Malone called his team out, and they've responded. Aaron Gordon, everybody's going to talk about Jokic, and I'm going to get to him in a second for what he's doing because he got the apron on. He cooking. But Aaron Gordon, props to him, and whatever Mike Malone's done with adjustments for him, this series might not be the series for Michael Porter Jr., he just seems to love the Lakers for some reason. This may not be the series for him, but Aaron Gordon has stepped up. They found ways to change their offense around and let Aaron Gordon push the ball up the court, run the offense to him from time and time. He's got a 27-point game in this series, an 18 and 10 and 5. Like they've used Aaron Gordon's versatility in a way that it's hard for Minnesota to match up because now Jokic is not the guy bringing the ball up the court, or it's not always the 1-5 pick and roll with Jamal Murray. They got different looks now. They're playing Christian Braun more. They're letting Aaron Holiday play more defensively. Lengthy guy. He can match up with Nickeil Alexander. Those types of players. He can even match up with Ant Edwards a little bit. So because of those adjustments, the Nuggets responded like champions, and they look great. And Anthony Edwards needs some help. I mean, hell, Ant-Man needs Karl-Anthony Towns to turn into the Wasp or something. Like he needs another sidekick. One of the Avengers need to come and help Ant-Man because they haven't looked good in these last 3 games as well as they looked in the first 2. Now to get to the MVP. Nikola Jokic, what he is doing, he need to be arrested for what he's doing to Rudy Gobert. That is just assault and battery, what he did last night to the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He is destroying his dude. And for my older viewers, you may remember this. 95, Rockets Spurs series. David Robinson wins the MVP. The biggest mistake that they ever did is they presented that MVP trophy during that Rockets series in front of Hakeem Olajuwon. And Kenny Smith loves telling the story. that Olajuwon leaned over to him and said, "He's got my trophy." And Olajuwon proceeded to destroy him with the greatest moves we've ever seen from a center, the greatest footwork ever, in front of everybody in San Antonio. Young people, go back, look at the clips on YouTube. All you got to do is put in Olajuwon and David Robinson, and it'll be the first thing to come up. I guarantee it. And that was the year David Robinson won. I say all that to say this. Rudy Gobert is getting all this praise for being a defensive player of the year for the fourth time. There's even a story, an urban legend, whatever you want to call it, about when Jokic played against Rudy Gobert a couple years ago, and the team was going to send a double, and Rudy waved them off, said, "I don't need a double for him." And now you see what Jokic is doing to this boy. It is criminal. He just had a baby, Jokic. All right, leave that boy alone, okay? He got to go home to a family. Stop doing this to him. 40, 15, and 5, 40, 11, and 10, like crazy numbers, NBA 2K numbers on this guy. And because of that, I think Jokic just proved the point, like, I'm the best player in this series, arguably the best player in the world. It doesn't matter who you put on me. It doesn't matter it's the defensive player of the year. I'm going to destroy it. Plain and simple. Even Anthony Edwards has to give him props in the presser. Like, man, he's best player in the league. I mean, I just got to laugh. Those are his words, right? But we got two eyes. We see what Jokic is doing to this boy. So somebody get an APB out for Rudy Gobert and his defense. He might have left it at the hospital with the baby, but he need to get it back, and he need to help these T-Wolves, because if he don't figure it out, they're about to be done, all right? Which is crazy to think, because just a week ago, all the pundits were saying the Nuggets might get swept, which is laughable. But I said it. If they don't win on Friday, they will not be playing on Monday, because they would have been done Sunday. And they won both games over the weekend, and now they got control of the series. So we'll see what happens. All right? Looking real good. Okay. We're going to switch gears now. All right? We got a lot of basketball out. Whew. Hope y'all enjoyed that. We're going to switch gears to the NFL. Tonight, the NFL schedule will come out, which is ridiculous and gangster at the same time. I'm going to explain why it's gangster, though. But the schedule comes out tonight. They're making a TV show about this, when you can just simply just put it on Google like they used to do. The schedule's out. I used to go and check the Bears schedule, see it. Oh, cool. We play them. We at home. We're away there. The NFL is so damn gangster, they don't even care about the NBA playoffs. They do so much disrespectful stuff to the NBA. They say, you know what? We're going to make a TV show about every team's schedule getting put out and put it on TV during the playoffs, mind you. Don't nobody give a damn about Carolina's schedule. The worst team in the NFL, but you get to see it on TV. Just because the NFL says we want to do stuff and mess with the NBA. So you'll get that. But I'll tell you what we already know. Some exciting stuff. The Texans and the Bears, they have the Hall of Fame game, right? The preseason game in Canton. Also, the Bears play in London for the first time in 5 years against the Vikings. So that'll be cool. We get Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. We get Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. So we get a wide receiver clash of the Titans in London, all right, in the division. The Chiefs host the Ravens opening night on a Thursday. It'll be an AFC championship rematch at Arrowhead. The Packers get the Eagles in Brazil. The first time the NFL's played a regular season game in South America. So that'll be cool to see. Eagles, Packers. That'll be a fun one. September 6th, I think. So it's around Labor Day weekend or around Labor Day. So that'll be cool. Get the barbecue out, watch a football game in Brazil. I mean, I don't know why the hell you want to do American football in a country that loves football, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see who shows up. Should be fun. And then this is how the NFL gets real gangster. All right. Just disrespectful and gangster at the same time. The NFL has games on Christmas Day this year. And I know y'all thinking like, oh yeah, the NFL played on Christmas before. Like me and Miss D, we've been to Christmas Eve games. We've done all this stuff before. And I know y'all thinking like, Jake, what you talking about? Like Christmas games, that ain't really out of the norm. Look at your calendar and see what day Christmas is on. Christmas is on a Wednesday. All right. Everybody knows that the NBA and Christmas go together. All right. Christmas Day is the day for the NBA. The NFL has Thanksgiving. Everybody knows that. You get 3, 4 games on Thanksgiving, get football games. Christmas, you get 5 nationally televised games from noon to midnight on Christmas. The NFL is so damn respectful. They say, nope, we're going to throw a doubleheader in there on a Wednesday. You never get football games on Wednesdays, ever. But just because it's on Christmas Day and how disrespectful they are to the NBA, it's competition. I love it. That's why I'm laughing about it. But how gangster are you to put games? I ain't going to do Christmas Eve. I'm going to just do it on Christmas Day. Everybody at the crib. We're going to move the NBA out the way. It ain't going to hurt me at all because I can watch it all on one screen. I'm going to just boom, 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 block it out. But 2 games on Christmas. I don't know who's playing yet. That's what the schedule will reveal tonight. It's on now as we're doing this show. But how unbelievably disrespectful is that for the NFL, man? I think Roger Goodell just sits around and just like stares at a picture of Adam Silver like, how can I piss him off today? What they got going on? Oh, the NBA Finals? Oh yeah, we're gonna do a reality show with the 72 Dolphins. We just gonna put it on during the NBA Finals at the exact same time, just to disrespect the NBA. Like I think he literally sits around and thinks of ways to just diss the NBA. It's crazy. Again, if this was a rap beef, you tell me who's Drake and who's Kendrick, all right, between the NFL and the NBA, because it's crazy. The NFL is always going at these dudes, man. I love it. So I hope y'all not naive and think this isn't on purpose, okay? If you never thought it was on purpose before, Christmas, NFL games on a Wednesday is crazy. They did it last year with these Amazon games on Friday. Black Friday, they had games. So you know that the NBA is playing on Friday after Thanksgiving because they gave you the Thanksgiving Day game. And then you do a Black Friday game. The NBA got to get disrespectful. Next season, we got to have Turkey Day games in the NBA. We got to do it. You have to. I know NFL is king. It's the greatest TV show, yada, yada, yada. But man, this is getting real blatant. Adam Silver need to do something about that. So that's what we got going on. Like I said, as we speak, NFL schedule is out. So check and see where your teams are at. I know me and Miss D are going to try to see if we can get a game in Vegas and stumble upon. Well, we're going to go to Vegas to hang out, and then, a Chiefs and Raiders game may break out. We'll see what happens. But we're going to try to see what that schedule like and try to make our way there. X Factor Sports Podcast might be out in Vegas on location. We'll see. All right. Before we get up out of here, though, all right, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Remember, we are always on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Rumble. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody. The shirts are now on sale in multiple colors, multiple flavors. We got them all over the country now. So shout out to all the people that supported, bought the shirts. We got shirts in Minnesota now. We got shirts in Indiana. We got shirts in Virginia now. We got little baby shirts. We got shirts all over the country. We got shirts out in Portland. Shout out to the family out there. Everybody's getting shirts in all different colors. So be sure to shout me out. Holler at me on social media. Get your shirts, get your sizes. I'll ship them out to you personally. And thank you guys for the support of the X Factor Sports Podcast. All right. Now, before we dip out, we always do the famous 2-minute warning. A lot of people's favorite segment. We're going to talk about who you are when no one is looking. All right. So this is about your character. Who are you when no one's around? Everybody wants to put on their best face when somebody's watching, when somebody's paying attention. But when nobody's around you, when the door closes and the lights turn out, when you got to be in front of the mirror, what type of person are you? All right. Are you someone that does good things just because people are around, just because your boss is there? Or are you somebody that consistently tries to do the right thing over and over, right? Me and Miss D talked about that the other day too. It was like, just do the right thing all the time, even with driving. Like I get so frustrated with the drivers here. But as an example, just little things all the time, consistently, every day. You just build on good habits. And then you'll be able to look back and see what you created. So, but it's a constant question. You have to ask yourself, who am I when nobody is looking? Am I doing the right thing? Am I building up character? Because you never know who's watching. But also at the same time, you have to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day, and you know right from wrong. So these are the questions about character. If you want to be successful at anything, a parent, an employee, a CEO, an athlete, painter, musician, whatever it is that you aspire to be, who are you and what habits do you have daily when nobody is paying attention, when nobody's around? What are those habits you're building up? All right. Are your habits consistent? Do you have work ethic, or is it just for show? Because that thing is going to come out in the end. The real gets revealed and the fake can't relate. It's simple as that. All right. The real get revealed and the fake can't relate. So you want to make sure you continue to have that consistency and do the right things all the time, not just some of the time. So that's the message there, man. Who are you when nobody is looking? Just keep it consistent, one foot in front of the other, and build upon good habits every day. All right. This is Jay Mundane of the X Factor Sports Podcast, Season 4, Episode 8. I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Next week, Episode 9, we're getting close to the end of Season 4, which is crazy, right? We're almost 1 full year in the books of the X Factor Sports Podcast, so I appreciate y'all for riding along with it. Episode 9 next week, we'll be into the conference finals, NHL and NBA conference finals. Check us out on all the audio platforms. Like I said, we're no longer on Google Podcasts. It has moved over to YouTube Music. And then you also have Pandora, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those places. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, and follow. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is Jay Mundane of the X Factor Sports Podcast. Peace.